Community-minded, locally focused. We're localwebradio.fm.
Are you a hardworking business owner striving for success online? There is help. Welcome to the School of Internet Marketing podcast, featuring candid conversations and inspiring stories of online success. Now here's your host.
I hope that everybody is having a great day. I am your host, Nick Jaworski, and today I am continuing my conversation with James Martell, founder of the School of Internet Marketing and VP of Product Development for Jam Media. Today's topic, your website is the hub. Why is it critical you take back control? Now, before James joins us, just a reminder that if you have questions or require any assistance, you can always reach James's team at Jam Media and the School of Internet Marketing at 604-542-0747 and on Facebook at facebook.com/GoGreatMinds. James Martell has taught tens of thousands of business owners how to effectively market their businesses online through his ebooks, courses, live trainings and webinars, podcast, and speaking engagements. James, welcome back.
Hey, Nick. Good to be back.
It is great to be back. We've got a lot. We've been moving along. We're on episode, 12, 13 now, and we've got a lot of things that we should probably recap before we move forward.
I agree. We have covered a lot of ground.
All right. So do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, okay. So we've talked about everything from the surprising effect that the internet has had on business, small businesses specifically.
Right.
It's not all been rosy. Business owners, of course, are of course very, very busy, and all of a sudden this internet thing has kind of permeated their lives, and their traditional forms of advertising have pretty much fallen by the wayside, whether it be local newspapers or yellow pages and all the stuff that we talked about early on.
Right.
We talked about checking your internet footprint, why that's important and how to go about doing that. We talked about the importance of citations and reviews as triggers to help you gain those all-important top rankings in Google. We talked about Google and their insatiable appetite for fresh content.
Insatiable appetite, I remember.
Insatiable. And it's true. Google absolutely loves fresh content, and a website that is being regularly updated compared to maybe a competitor of yours who is not can always get a great advantage by getting a system in place to add content to the site ongoing. We talked about what you should write about in your blog. We talked about organizing a publishing schedule, hiring a writer, and basically now we're kind of moving into the area. Let's have a little look at the website.
Yeah, and today's topic, that's a lot of stuff. And today's title, your website is your hub. What do you mean by that?
The website is, if you can imagine a wheel, take any type of wheel, bicycle wheel, in the middle you've got a hub. Take a motorcycle wheel, same idea, there's a hub in the middle. And then the spokes will go out from there to the actual wheel itself. So if you picture your website as the center of everything you do, and out from the website you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, you've got your Google+, you've got your newsletter, and you've got these various areas that you're working on in the business, but really it's the website that's in the center of it all. Because on your website you'll also find things like your products. You'll find your lead capture form if you're generating leads online. So everything that you do really does start off from the website. Now, your blog is also located there, so if you're adding fresh content to the net, as you should be, you'll find that there as well. So the website really is the beginning of everything, and if it's set up properly, you'll find that when you update your site, your Facebook page should update automatically. Your Google Plus page should update automatically. Same with Twitter. Also, your email newsletter should be generated, in my personal opinion, from the content that you're adding to your website. So when you click a button and you hit post on that new article that you just crafted or had a writer develop for you, automatically it should trigger an email newsletter to all of your subscribers. So the website really is the hub of everything you do.
I mean, that sounds fantastic and like a great idea, but it also sounds like a lot of tech know-how and have to go into that process of getting that all integrated. How does that work? How does the website connect with Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus or wherever? How does that all work out?
There is some, technical aspects to it for sure. But if you're using WordPress, we're going to talk about WordPress in the next session and why 80 million website owners can't be wrong or can't all be wrong. We're going to talk about that, but basically in a nutshell, take something like the email. So imagine you're going to your blog, and on a weekly basis or a daily basis, twice, two, 3 times a week, whatever the frequency is, you're updating it with a fresh post. Now, with a little plugin and an email software program such as, or software service such as maybe GetResponse, where you use the functionality called RSS to email, or Real Simple Syndication, RSS to email, what happens is you can set up a beautiful newsletter, and I'm working on one right now for a chiropractor that's just gorgeous. And what happens is, imagine you've got a beautiful email template that's ready to be sent out, or an email newsletter template that's ready to send out to your audience, but there's no content on it. You've got your header there, you got your phone number, maybe you've got some internet offers in the footer, but there's no content within the middle of that newsletter. With RSS to email, you can set it up in such a way that every month, GetResponse automatically comes back to your blog, grabs all of the content that you've added in the prior 30 days or the prior week, whatever the frequency you have set up. It'll pull in all of those beautiful posts you've written, format them, and insert them very neatly into that newsletter template. If you've added a photo to the blog, to each one of your posts, it'll pull those in, format it very nicely, and then automatically on the day that you've determined, it will take that content, merge it with your newsletter, and automatically send it out to all your subscribers. So when we talk about your website as your hub, these are the types of things, and a lot more. Updating Facebook automatically when you update a post, updating Twitter, all that can be done from your site if it's organized properly in advance.
Well, that sounds fantastic, and once you get it set up, of course, you've removed a lot of extra work for yourself, and that's great. Now, how do we get a Facebook post updated and scheduled and aligned with our website?
Great question. And in the same way that we've got what's called a plugin, and I'm talking really from the WordPress perspective, but there's a lot of other content management systems that have this functionality as well, whether it be Joomla or Drupal. There's quite a number of them out there. My preference by far is WordPress, just because it is the most popular. But again, it's a plugin. So you'd have a little plugin. The one I use is called Jetpack, and you connect your website to your Facebook page by simply clicking on a button. And if you're already logged into your Facebook page, maybe in another browser, Facebook will pop up and it will say, would you like to authorize this site, which is your site, to be able to automatically update your posts each week when you add, or each day when you add the fresh content. You just go yes, and then it's done. So it's very simple to do, and we'll talk about that in the next session when we talk about WordPress. But all this functionality is there. Most of it's free, a little bit of setup involved. It's not really that complicated, organized. And once you have it all set up with the idea that your website is your hub, you've basically created a little broadcasting platform, because now once everything's in place, all you need to do is make sure you're adding fresh content to your site and you're focused on the needs of your visitor. And then as soon as you publish that new post, you can rest assured that everything else, including your social media and your newsletter, is going to be alerted and updated automatically. So it's just a great way to go.
That sounds great. And we have to take a quick break. I want to keep talking about this. We'll take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with James Martell to talk about why it's critical that you take back control of this hub, and we'll talk about what he means by that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hillcrest Bakery and Deli presents Old Time Radio on the Specialty Channel on localwebradio.fm.
Would you like to get more from the devices you own? Not quite sure where to start? There is help. Catch Powering Up for Non-Techies with Justin Martell, Computer Department Manager at London Drugs, on the Specialty Channel on localwebradio.fm.
If soccer is a part of your life on the Semiahmoo Peninsula, be sure to tune in to This is Soccer with Chris Murphy, Executive Director for Coastal FC, on the community channel on localwebradio.fm.
All right, we're back, and I'm here with James Martell, and we are talking about your website as the hub and why it's critical that you take back control. And, okay, we talked about the hub in the beginning, James, and now we're going to talk about this idea of taking back control. What do you mean by that?
This is an area that I find pretty much everybody struggles with. And I work with a lot of small business owners, and I've had this challenge myself. And it's an ongoing challenge. It's something that we need to really stay on top of. And when I say it's critical to take back control, what I mean by that is when we're working online, there's a lot of little bits and pieces that we need to make sure we have at our fingertips. It could be something as simple as our passcodes. I can't tell you how many business owners that I do business with, and one of the first things I need from them so that I can do the work that they just hired us to do is I need to get their passcodes to Facebook and Twitter, to their, if they're using WordPress, their WordPress login, their hosting login, their domain name, where it's registered, and the login information for that, and all of these usernames and passcodes. And I usually at that particular point get a blank stare or a look of horror,
Right.
because they don't know where they are. And then we begin to go on this little hunt to find the usernames and passcodes. And I must say, the very important usernames and passcodes to control, that helps you control your online internet web presence. And sometimes they'll be in the hands of the graphic designer, who sometimes doesn't want to give them up because they like to maintain control. So I immediately say, well, get a hold of them, demand your usernames and passcodes. It doesn't mean the graphic designer can't have them.
Right.
It just means you need to get them. And I find sometimes, they don't know where their domain name is registered, and they can't remember which company is actually hosting the website. So when I say take back control, I mean get all of the information that you need to make sure you're the one that's controlling your website. It's no different than your business. We talked about Sawbucks not too long ago, in a few sessions back. And imagine not knowing where the keys are to the door. Imagine not having the passcodes to the alarm system. Imagine all of the things that you need to run and maintain that business as a business owner.
Right.
It's no different online. You really got to take control of it. And you got to get things in its place so that when it's time to make these changes, that it's simple and easy for you. And then on the flip side of that, if you don't know where your domain name was registered and the last time it was registered, there's a very good likelihood you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many website owners lose their site just because they weren't paying attention to their site, first off. Secondly, they didn't know where their domain name was registered or when it needs to be renewed. And maybe the credit card expiry date changed, or they changed their card, and all of a sudden, it's trying to auto renew and it can't, and then it goes past the redemption period and they lose their domain name and they lose their site. So it's really important that we start to take all of this very serious, and we get this into a place where it's under lock and key. These are your usernames and passcodes. You wouldn't give your banking information to just anybody and lose your passcodes. This is so important that we really do take back control of all of these little bits and pieces.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You keep talking about the passwords for the site and server issue, and you've got so many things. You've got social media, you've got, however you're doing your CMS, your content management system. How do you manage all the passcodes for your stuff?
Oh, and it's true. And once you get it, you dig into it, and we start organizing citations. Every one of those directories, or a good percentage of them, they'll let you set up your own little account in there, and guess what? You get another username, another passcode.
Right.
So a typical website owner who's paying attention and building out their online presence will easily have 2 or 3 dozen passcodes or more.
Jeez.
I know in my particular case, I've got probably 100 for my site because I'm also podcasting, and all the podcasting directories, I've got usernames and passcodes. And then you get the membership sites that you're part of. I mean, it literally goes on and on and on. So the solution to it, though, it's not overly scary, and you can actually solve the problem for about $10 a year. which is a little service that I discovered, it's got to be 12, 14 years ago, called RoboForm. And essentially what RoboForm is, imagine if you're going to your blog and you want to log in. Of course, there's going to be a field there for your username and your passcode. Or you head over to your hosting company and you need to log into your hosting backend for some reason, or your domain name register, or wherever you happen to be. And all of a sudden you got that little username and passcode field. Well, if you're using RoboForm, what will happen is, as soon as you land on that page, RoboForm will say, aha, passcode, username, and it'll pop open, and it will say to you, would you like me to fill this out for you? And you go, yes.
You say, yes, please.
Yes, please, and thank you. And then you hit the button, and it automatically logs you right in. So RoboForm is a very solid bank-level encrypted password protection service that you only need to enter your passcode once as you go back to these forms, and then every time you go back, RoboForm will remember for you and then automatically update it. And I've recommended this to so many people, and they're like, James, thank goodness you shared RoboForm with me, because it really saved my whole online world.
Yeah, it's one thing for me to lose my personal email address, password, or have to forget it and log in and retrieve it. But it's another thing to lose the keys to the store, as you would say. So spending the money on something like that is definitely a worthwhile investment.
Absolutely. It's really a must to, first understand that the website is the hub, but if we don't have control of the hub and we can't get back to it and all the little pieces that it's connected to, because we can't find our usernames and passcodes, we really do have a problem. So the key to this is just getting out in front of this problem by using a tool like RoboForm.
Now, real quick, we're almost out of time, James. Do you have any final thoughts to help wrap this all up?
The passcodes that we're talking about here, I have found, and I have made a habit of this. I just did this yesterday. I signed up for a tool that is called Opt-in Skin. We'll talk about it in an upcoming session. It's a great little tool to help you with your email marketing. And again, as soon as I subscribed, guess what they gave me? A username and a passcode for the members area. And a serial number for the software. So the first thing I do when that username and passcode and the important information that I need in the future arrives, I just take a moment and I make sure I record it, into the RoboForm system, so I don't need to worry about it later. I have found that if I don't do that, it's easy just to forget about that email and maybe try to dig for it later. But if I do it, next time I need to log into that members area, it's a breeze. If I don't do it, it can put me onto a 20, 30-minute hunt to try to find that, important information that I should have cataloged in the beginning. So just get in the habit of taking care of these usernames and passcodes as they come in.
Well, that's a great place for us to stop talking about the importance of having everything organized in terms of your website. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer, if you heard James talking and you said, I could do this, or if you have somebody on staff who could take care of this for you with just a little guidance, there's always the School of Internet Marketing, and you can get that just for $47 a month, which is just a small investment for the return you can get from it. Or if you would just rather have someone do this for you, you can always have someone on James's team take care of all of it. And you can give his office a call at 604-542-0747. And if you know somebody who could benefit from what we've talked about here today, go ahead and share this podcast with them. Give them the secrets. Give them the help. Of course, your friends, not your competitors. That's always a good idea. All right. Well, we're out of time now. So, James, thanks so much.
Thanks, Nick. Good to chat.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about the School of Internet Marketing and to get access to all exclusive courses and interviews, visit theschoolofinternetmarketing.com. That's www.theschoolofinternetmarketing.com.
You're opted in to localwebradio.fm. Community-minded, locally focused.
This episode is a production of Jam Media. For information on hosting your own web radio show, visit jammedia.com. That's www.jambmedia.com.
The opinions expressed by our guest and host on localwebradio.fm do not necessarily reflect the views of Jam Media or its owners. No expressed or implied opinions of any product or service should be considered an endorsement or recommendation of any kind by Jam Media or its owners.